Hello, this is Ken. I'm back in this series of episodes determining who is the world's deadliest fighter ever. That's right, today we will decide who is the world's deadliest fighter ever. Not just in the past, not just in the present moment, but forever. That means in the future. Because these people are so great, I don't think anybody in the future can ever defeat these people in the present. Well, one's from the past, but you get my point. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. Let's recap who they are. And I will mention some honorable mentions, but why I did not put them on the list. Let's recap. We have had Count Dante. Yes, John Keehan, Count Dante. I also did an episode on Grandmaster Thomas Cameron and his famous no-touch knockout. After Thomas Cameron, I did his master, Grandmaster George Dillman. And I kind of feel a little funny saying his master because I think they learned it from Benny Hinn. I'm still holding on to that possible theory. After George Dillman, I did an episode on the next one who has just really surprised me his popularity, and that is ASHIDA Kim. Then I did an episode on Frank Dukes, yes, of blood sport fame, and then Jukka Lampila of Finland. I thought I had to put somebody else from the rest of the world on here. Otherwise, I looked very American-centric and just picking people from the United States of America. And I wanted to show some diversity. So, now let's go by the matrix I kind of calculated to determine who is the world's deadliest fighter. So I used how many views. Now poor Juka doesn't get quite the same opportunity, but I have kind of calculated in a couple of days what his view rate is, and I've put that into this. I just don't want to wait another 10 days. I want to get this episode out to you as soon as possible. So, how many views that they've gotten within a certain amount of time, and then I looked at how many likes they have received. I looked at the likes, and then I looked at the comments. And in the comments, how many comments the people make about these great martial artists. And then I kind of calculated that and determined, take my biases out, my gut instinct, who may be, out of these people, the world's deadliest fighter ever. And then I looked at their technique, my personal observation on how well they did their technique. And then I looked at their story and my personal opinion about how true could this story be. So before I go down the list, I do want to make an announcement on some honorable mentions. There are some people that were considered, but in candid, it takes a while to develop and edit and make these satirical type episodes. And I just don't do them straight out. There's people who do it better than I do. So I try to come up with a little bit of satire. So in looking at all the people out there, I decided that I just don't have enough time. I've got other martial art videos I want to develop. And I also have a motorcycle channel, as well as I have a lot of other things going on that I like to do. So limit it to these 6. But when doing that, I do want to mention some people that I really considered putting on here and why I didn't. So, some honorable mentions. One is Grandmaster Bateman. Yes, Master Bateman. I looked at a lot of his videos, a lot of his training, and I almost want to put him on here. I mean, one, the name alone should put him at the level of one of the world's deadliest fighters ever. I mean, Master Bateman. I mean, the name alone is spectacular. But looking at his videos, you know, he looked to be somewhat small. I mean, the other, you know, besides ASHIDA Kim who's small, but he looked to be somewhat fit. And these people, they're so great, they're not even fit and they're destroying stuff. So, kind of threw him off the list. Though, as you'll see here, his chest bump method is almost what put him on this list. But what took him off the list was he could also do these things, and they're not really effective. The chest bump method, I think, could take somebody out, but not those other things he does. So he didn't get on the list. So I was going to put on the great Diamond Dave. I mean, Diamond Dave, his expertise has lent him on repeated showings of the Jerry Springer Show when it was on TV. And he's done his own home videos to teach little ninjas everywhere how to defend themselves. And he even has a ninjetta. I mean, talk about thinking forward. And so Diamond Dave almost went in there. And I love his underhand reverse type shootles that he does. I mean, it's pretty awesome. But, you know, I decided that I don't think he could defeat any of these guys. And though his skull technique and his rope technique is innovative, he didn't just rise to the level of the world's deadliest fighter ever. So I took him off. And so we had those two going off of there, and but they're honorable mentions because I thought, you know, they may deserve to be on here. And then there's another person that everybody's familiar with, and I thought he should go on as the world's greatest fighter ever, and that's Master Ken. But if I put Master Ken on there, I mean, his Ameridote is awesome. And his message to always re-stomp the groin. Brilliant. I mean, lo and behold, he's one of my teachers. Here, view for yourself. That's me, yours truly, a certified black belt in Ameridote Karate. So, I can't put Master Ken on there. That would be wrong of me. And it would show my bias to put Master Ken on there. I mean, he's one of my senseis. That'd just be a little bit too much bias. So, Master Ken, I so respect you, but I can't put you on as one of the world's deadliest fighters, even though you probably are. But I think you understand I'm trying to be humble here and not just show my preference for one of my senseis who has promoted me to black belt. So, I hope you understand, sir. So in any case, so let's go through. I told you my calculus, my honorable mentions. I was really surprised. So coming in at number 6 is going to be George Dillman. Yes, Grandmaster George Dillman. I was really surprised because when I set out to do this a month ago, I thought he may win. I thought he may have the most likes, the most comments, and the most views. I mean, after all, he trained Muhammad Ali, and he knew Bruce Lee. So I was really surprised and thought he might win this whole thing, and he doesn't. He's number 6. Sorry, George, Professor George, Grandmaster George, but you know, it's pretty obvious you're not the world's deadliest fighter ever. And it's kind of embarrassing because one of your students is going to top you on this list. So the student has, in this case, become greater than the sensei. So, number 5 is Count Dante. I did expect Count Dante not to be the top person for the greatest fighter ever. I nominated him anyways more because I had an affinity reading those comic books and seeing all those advertisements. And then my first Black Belt magazine, there's an article about Count Dante and the Dojo Wars in Chicago. And so as a kid, 12 years old, I think it was 12, it's pretty fascinating. You know, pretty fascinating to read about that stuff. But there are reports he might have been hiding underneath the desk when the police arrived. I can't make the world's deadliest fighter if he's doing that. So in any case, Count Dante isn't there. Even though he had some things going for him, And one was, he is the founder of the Black Dragon Fighting Society, of which many of these other people are on here. Well, this is where the race started to tighten up a little bit. But number 4 is going to be Juka of Finland. And I'm bumping him up a little bit because he hasn't had enough time really to get the views. And the first comment on there about his abilities didn't address it at all. It addressed me, and I don't think the person really has the skill to make any comments about Juka or myself. So in any case, Juka is going to go at number 4. And the reason why I rated him higher, though, than the other two is because the student, who happens to appear in a lot of the same videos, but that student, he's got him magically just going around and reminding me a lot of Darth Vader. And we all know how good Darth Vader is with the Force. We have Thomas Cameron, Frank Dukes, and ASHIDA Kim. Number 3 is going to be, drum roll, for the bronze medal, Thomas Cameron. Yes, Thomas Cameron will get number 3. I mean, what he does, and then he sings too. If you ever go watch and do some research, you'll find out he sings. So, and what he does with some of those students are just amazing. He is so good that he has one of his female students who can't even apparently tie her belt correctly, but she's learned the technique so well she's able to knock him down. And he looks devastated at the time it happens. And his me and hole technique is just awesome. I haven't perfected it yet myself, but I am just absolutely amazed at it. So, Grandmaster Cameron, you won the bronze medal. You're number 3. Number 2 for the silver, and if you get number 2, you know who number 1 is. It's Frankie Dukes. That's right. Frankie Dukes is number 2 as the world's deadliest fighter ever. Another member of the Black Dragon Fighting Society. Frankie is up there. I mean, he's had a movie made about him, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, how awesome is that? And he can throw a pretty good kick. No satire in that one at all. He can throw a pretty good kick. And he's learned the dim mock. But if you notice, he's always got to touch somebody. And so I kind of knocked him back a little bit on that. But I do think that if he was to get into a real altercation, he'd easily take out the other 2 no-touch people, George Dillman and Tom Cameron. So Frank is number 2. That leaves Grandmaster ASHIDA Kim as the world's deadliest fighter ever. Yes, I know that's to seem controversial. He's the smallest guy on the list by far. I mean, you know, he's a pretty small guy. He levitates. Now, I know people are going to say that hula hoop didn't go underneath him, but I think you're being deceived. I think it did. And the bullets, I mean, so powerful. I'm still amazed that the bullets don't even hit the target. They just disappear. ASHIDA Kim is definitely the world's greatest fighter ever. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have made your own determination. Please, put in your comments who you think should have been number 1. And you can go ahead and go outside of the people I submitted and discuss your own. It'd be interesting to see who you picked, who you selected. So, I'm now going to go on to the next series. I will do another book review, and I hope you join in and leave your comments and go ahead and discuss and debate all things martial arts. Thank you all so much. Have a spectacular day. Us.